Good evening, everyone. Welcome to First Church of Religious Science here in New York, broadcasting from New York. Whether you're joining us on Zoom this evening, watching us on Facebook later today and tomorrow, or YouTube, where you're catching a replay, I'm glad you're with us. I'm glad you're connecting with us. This is your time. This is your space for self-healing, for connection, for transformation, and for expanding into greater possibilities. Let me start out by asking you something. Have you ever felt like you were doing all the right things? You're doing your affirmations, your visualizations, your prayers. You're catching yourself when you're being negative, and you're listening to the internal dialogue. Have you ever felt whatever you were doing just wasn't working out? The things you were praying for weren't showing up? Or have you ever looked around and wondered, why do some people seem to receive so easily while other people struggle? Tonight, we're going to explore why some of this happens, and more importantly, how you can expand your ability to receive. Because here's the thing, life's not withholding anything from you. The question is, are you truly open to receive? We have an incredible global community here with us this evening. I want to say hi again to any of you who have just signed in to this incredible community. You can also say hi in the chat room and where you're tuning in from. So greetings. And while you're at it in the chat, you can indicate where you're from. So what's the question for all of us tonight? What is one area in your life where you'd love to experience more? More what? More abundance, more ease, more joy, more happiness. So this is a class for any of you who are looking to demonstrate in a bigger way. More joy, more ease, more happiness, more abundance. It's about creating internal shifts in your thinking, opening up always to greater good. And I'm going to say to you throughout this class, opening up to greater good that's already here, already available. And we do this, of course, by removing the things, the blocks that keep us from receiving the good that's available right now. We do this together this evening and every week in a space of love, encouragement, and expansion. We don't tell people what to do. We're never about criticism. As Louise would say, we never criticize ourselves. So this is a safe space to explore these ideas. So I'd like to start out by imagining something. Picture yourself, if you can, or if you will, standing in front of a vast, endless ocean of life. And this ocean is stretching as far as your eye can see. The waves are rolling in, bringing infinite possibilities. And you have a container in your hand. Notice your container, and here's the million-dollar question. What are you bringing to collect the good that's already flowing? Are you holding out a tiny teacup, afraid to take too much? Or are you bringing with you a bucket, knowing that there's more than enough? Or have you backed up a truck to the ocean, ready to receive in a big way? Most of us were taught that we have to earn our good, and we were taught that we can only receive it in small amounts, or that wanting more is in some way selfish. But Louise taught us something very different, radically different, in fact. She reminded us that the ocean of life is lavish with abundance. And she said, all of my needs and desires are met before I even ask. Again, it's a good affirmation for any of us. All of my needs and desires are met before I even ask. So this evening, we're going to stretch our minds a little. We're going to shift our thinking and expand our ability to receive. This lesson is inspired by two powerful teachers, Louise and Ernest Holmes. Holmes wrote The Science of Mind, and in it he said, we do not take what we wish, we attract what we are. Again, we do not take what we wish, we attract what we are. Now think about that for a second. It's not about just wanting something. It's about becoming that person. It's about becoming that person who has that consciousness who can receive it. Louise built on this teaching by saying that self-worth and self-love are the core of what we allow into our lives. But here's the truth. The size of your bucket is determined by what you believe you deserve. So I want you to ask yourself right now, how big is my bucket? How much good am I actually allowing myself to receive? And before we get into it, I just want to remind you that this class is part of our weekly spiritual offerings at First Church, First Center of Religious Science. We also meet on Wednesdays at 7 for our creative living class and Sunday mornings at 10:45 for a weekly lesson. And if this class nourishes you, we invite you to support our work. Your presence, however, is the greatest gift of all. If you feel called to contribute, we welcome it with gratitude. So let's get started in this evening's lesson. I have a beautiful reading to start us off that sets the tone for tonight. It's by Rumi, who wrote, "You were born with potential. You were born with goodness and trust. You were born with ideals and dreams. You were born with greatness. You were born with wings. You are not meant for crawling. So don't. You have wings. Learn to use them and fly." So let's learn to use our wings and fly. Let's take a breath and let these words sink in. You were never meant to crawl through life, barely getting by. You were designed to soar, to expand into more, to trust in possibility, to open yourself fully to the infinite. But sometimes we forget. We hold ourselves back. We live smaller than we were meant to. That's what tonight's class is all about. So let's pause and ask a few important questions. Think very carefully. Do any of these sound even slightly familiar? Have you ever caught yourself saying, "I don't want to be greedy," or "I shouldn't ask for that much"? Do you ever find yourself feeling guilty receiving? Like maybe someone else needs it more than you do? Have you ever been so focused on making sure that everyone else is taken care of that you put yourself last? When you hear about someone else's success or abundance, does it inspire you? Or do you feel a little resentful in some way? Be honest with yourself about these questions. Next, do you ever assume that good things happen to other people, but not for you? Have you turned down help or opportunities that have come down your way? Just remember, anything that comes up for you, have you turned down opportunities because you didn't feel ready, or maybe you didn't feel deserving, or maybe you didn't have the confidence to think you could do it? Do you believe that you have to work really, really hard to be worthy of more? Or maybe this, have you ever said to yourself, "I just want enough to get by, to pay my bills," or "I just want enough," instead of dreaming bigger, knowing that there's more and something greater? If you thought yes or said yes to even one of these, there's a good chance that you've been holding a tiny cup at the ocean of life, when you could have been bringing, or you could be bringing rather, a bigger bucket. Now, that's not a criticism of you or what you've done. It's meant to be an awakening. We're not doing this to beat ourselves up. Because once we recognize the patterns that we have, we can change them. We can trade in the cup for a bucket. We can expand our capacity to receive even more. We can step into a bigger version of ourselves and allow more good than we ever have had in our life. So here's the question I want you to ponder, to sit with for just a moment. What would your life look like? Or you would say to yourself, what would my life look like if I gave myself permission to receive? What would my life look like if I gave myself permission to receive fully? So let's take in a breath. Let that question fill us up, settle in, because we're going to take this realization even deeper with a little guided healing exercise. Let's breathe in together, take a deep breath, and exhale. Go ahead and close your eyes for a moment if you'd like. Make yourself comfortable. This is your time, it's your space. It's a moment to open yourself up to something greater, something wonderful. Take a slow, deep breath in and let go. Breathe it in again and release. Let's do it again. One time in deeply, exhaling fully. Now, picture yourself standing on a beautiful beach. The ocean stretches endlessly before you, its waves rolling in, powerful and limitless. The ocean represents all the love, all the success, healing, and abundance that's already available to you. Feel the sun on your skin, the warmth of possibility surrounding you. Now look down at your hands. What are you holding? Is it a tiny cup, just enough to collect a little of what life has to offer? Is it a bucket, ready for more? Is it nothing at all, because maybe you never believed you could receive? Whatever it is, just notice it. No judgment, just awareness. Now, imagine setting down that old container, setting it down, and choosing something bigger. See yourself picking up a larger container, a larger bucket, something that's really big enough to receive all the good that's flowing toward you. Maybe it's a barrel. Maybe it's a huge golden bowl. Maybe it's a giant truck ready to receive in a very big way. There's no shortage in life. The waves never stop coming in. Life is always giving. It's up to us, it's up to you to open up and receive. So let's take a moment now to release anything that may be blocking your ability to receive. Whatever comes to mind, silently or loud, say to yourself, I now release any fear, any guilt, any block, any doubt, anything that's kept me from receiving my good. I let go of old beliefs, grievances, upsets, anything that no longer serves me. I forgive myself for any time I thought I wasn't worthy. I forgive myself here and now and forevermore. I forgive myself for any time I thought I wasn't enough or I wasn't worthy. So let's take in a deep, deep breath. And now hear the words and say them silently or aloud. I'm open to receive now. Yes, I'm open to receive now. I'm worthy of all good. Again, I'm worthy of all good. The ocean of life is abundant and I receive it with joy. The ocean of life is abundant and I receive with joy. Breathe in and feel the expansion. Exhaling, letting go of any limitations. Breathe in life and expansion, letting go of anything that gets in the way, any limitation. Now, picture yourself walking away from the ocean, carrying with you more good than ever before. And you're not leaving empty-handed this time. You are full. You're full of possibility, full of love, full of new opportunities. Take one more deep breath and gently open your eyes when you're ready. Now take a moment and check in with yourself. Do you feel a shift? Do you feel a little different? Do you feel a lot different? Do you feel lighter, more open, more ready to receive? This meditation wasn't just about relaxation. It was about expanding your inner container so life can pour more good into it. Because the truth is, Life has been trying to give you more all along. Opportunities have not. Abundance has been available. Love has been waiting. But if our arms are crossed, if our hands are clenched, if our belief system says, not me, not now, then we don't receive it. And here's the kicker. It's not that life is withholding from us. It never has been. It's that we have been withholding from life. So let's get real for a moment. How many times have you been given a compliment and immediately brushed it off? Some will say, oh, hey, you look great today. And you say, oh, no, I don't, my hair isn't fixed. You'll say, I'm wearing this old thing. So when someone tells you, hey, you look great today, you look wonderful, say something different, right? How many times has someone offered to help you in some way and you say, no, I've got it, I can do it myself. Even when you really could have used the help, how many times have you had an opportunity present itself in front of you in your life, whether it's for love or money or success, or an opportunity for a dream come true, and instead of exuberantly saying yes, you hesitated. And you said to yourself, am I really ready? Or do I really deserve this? Or you hesitated. You didn't go for it. You might have said, what if this is too good to be true? So along these lines, let's take it a little bit deeper. How many times have you caught yourself being hard on yourself for no reason at all? Because that's that inner dialogue I talk about most weeks. How many times have you just been tough on yourself and overly critical? How many times have you woken up in the morning and immediately start criticizing yourself and just go into this story of, because we really want to stop that, right? We want to turn those things around. So how many times have you done that even before you got out of bed? Where you start to say, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, I didn't handle this well or that well. Or you might have said, I never get this right. Or why am I always messing things up? How many times have you spoken to yourself in a way that you would never speak to a good friend or someone you love? Louise Hay said to us, the bottom line for everyone I've ever worked with is this. They don't feel good enough about themselves. They don't feel like they do enough. They don't feel like they're adequate in some way. And yet, if we have all this going on inside of ourselves, these old tapes, messages, who told us these things? Because we got them from somewhere. Where did we learn this? Because the truth is, you are enough. You always have been enough. Always, always. You are one with the one, right? So you've always been amazing. You've always been enough. You've been the whole bit, as Raymond Charles Barker would say. There was never a moment when you weren't worthy of love, joy, and abundance. Never has there been a moment when you weren't worthy of those things. But when we tell ourselves the story of I'm not enough, we block our receiving. We say no to life even before life has had a chance to say yes to us. Again, with all this negativity, this internal dialogue, we say no to life even before it has had a chance to say yes to us. So let's talk about what else we can say yes to. Saying yes to more self-love, because as Louise would say, Louise has always said, never, never, never criticize yourself. So we want to say yes to more self-love and stop criticizing ourselves. Saying yes to more peace of mind, because you don't have to say yes to stress. So yes to more peace of mind. Saying yes to more support from others, because you don't have to do everything alone. Saying yes to more love and greater connection, because it's safe to let people in. Saying yes to more opportunities, because you don't have to earn your blessings. You simply need to allow them. Saying yes to more joy, because you don't have to deserve happiness. Happiness is your birthright. Saying yes to greater healing and more healing, because your past does not define your future. Saying yes to more ease and flow, because life doesn't have to be hard. it can be filled with grace. And here's the big one, saying yes to being kind to yourself. What if, starting today, you simply stopped criticizing yourself? What if you looked in the mirror, connected with your image, and said to yourself, I love you, I am proud of you, you're enough, you're great. What if you did that starting today? What if you started treating yourself as you would a really good friend? This is true expansion as you start to do this. This is allowing yourself to receive. So here's my challenge for everyone this week. Start saying yes. You know, we teach the affirmative life. That means we're looking to see the good where? Everywhere. We live, we move, we have our being in this eternal energy. So we're here to acknowledge it, to see it, and know it. So the challenge for this week is start saying yes. Say yes to compliments. Say yes to help. Say yes to abundance in all of its forms, and see the abundance that's everywhere. Say yes to every opportunity. And when that little voice pops up inside of you saying, oh, I don't know, this feels uncomfortable, remind yourself, I am allowed to receive. I'm open and receptive. I am allowed to receive. I'm worthy of all good, because the more you allow yourself to receive, the more you're going to realize something powerful. Life was never withholding from you. It was just waiting for you to say yes. So we've talked about expanding our receiving. We've explored how life is always giving. We recognize the ways we've been blocking our own good with that internal dialogue, right? In our belief system. And now, today, this lesson, we've started to say yes. Yes, yes, yes. And so what happens next? Well, the real work begins when we take this inner truth into our daily living and we practice. We're practicing the good. I would say I see the God, the good. We practice seeing the good in all things. And as we do this, it becomes easy to feel open and expansive in a space like this. Well, and I should say, in a lesson, it's easy to feel open and expansive, but when we take it to our day-to-day living, sometimes it's a little bit more challenging. So what happens tomorrow morning? What happens when life presents you with a gift or an opportunity or a moment of joy? Will you say yes, or will you shrink back into your old patterns? So I want everyone, as much as you can, to make a commitment to yourself right now that when good shows up in any form for you this afternoon, this week, that you will say yes to the good. Start saying yes. And I want you to take a moment to be real about this. Saying yes isn't always comfortable, because the truth is, when you start saying yes, life begins responding. That means if you've been saying yes to more financial abundance, an opportunity may show up that asks you to step into a bigger role, take a new risk, or maybe change your money mindset. If you've been saying yes to more love, you may find yourself attracting deeper connections, or realizing it's time to release relationships that don't align with your worth. If you've been saying yes to more ease, you may be invited to let go of more control and to trust life more, or to stop forcing things if you've been saying yes to more ease. Are you willing to say yes, even when it challenges you, is the question. Because when you say yes, we are telling the universe a few things. If you're saying yes, if you're willing to say yes more, you're telling the universe, I'm ready, I'm open, I trust life to support me, and life will always respond. And before we close today, I want to say this. You don't have to be perfect to receive. You don't have to have it all figured out either, I promise you. You don't have to heal every wound. You don't have to fix every flaw or earn your good. You, yes, you, are already good enough right here, right now. You're good enough right here, right now, as you are. There's nothing you need to do to be worthy. Your worth is not up for debate. Your worth was established the moment you were born. You are an expression of infinite life. You are a point of power within the divine intelligence. You are a point of light in the universe. And life wants to give to you. And so let it. Say yes. Trust that life is ready to pour into you. Know that you are worthy of all good. So let's take a deep breath together. Let's breathe in expansion. Let's breathe in possibility. Let's breathe in ease and let go of anything and everything that still tells you that you can't have or that you can't have it. Let's affirm this together. Again, breathe in deeply. And as you exhale, claim these words as your own. I say yes to life. I say yes to life. I say yes to my own worth. I say yes to my own worth. I say yes to receiving all the good that's already mine. I say yes to receiving all the good that's already mine. I'm open. I'm ready. I allow. And so it is. I'm open. I'm ready. I allow. And so it is. So, it doesn't end here. You have practice to take with you this week. Every time life presents you with an opportunity, what are you going to do? You're going to say yes. Every time an old limiting belief shows up, pause. Recognize it for what it is and say, cancel, or next, or I release you. Then immediately say yes to a new empowering truth instead. So if something comes up in the way of a limiting belief, cancel it out, say next, release it. Then immediately say yes to a new empowering truth instead. Every time you feel an urge to downplay, reject, or minimize your good, pause, breathe, and instead shift the patterns. The more you say, the more yes you say, the more you will see life shift. The more you allow, the more you will receive. Life has never been withholding from you, as I said before. It was always just waiting for you to say yes. So I want to thank you all for being here today. As I wrap it up, I want to take a moment again for all of you who contribute, all of you who send comments on YouTube and social media everywhere. For those of you who support the church, we're grateful. For those of you who attend the Wednesday evening creative living class or Sunday morning, you're all part of this wonderful family, this community. The community itself exists because of the support from all of you, your goodwill, and everything you do. Your energy, your presence, your willingness has made us what we are. If this gathering has nourished you, if you feel called to support us, liking us on YouTube and the different media forms and joining our YouTube group is helpful. And you can support us in the chat if you're able to as well. Again, being here is the big thing. So I'm grateful you're all here. So we're about ready to ask you to say yes to life, to step into more, and watch what happens. So now it's time for us to turn the cameras over to you. If you're new, please say hello. We'd like to say welcome you or say, hi, I'm from Kansas or wherever you are. If there's something that resonated with you this evening, please talk about it or put it in the chat. What stood out for you, what you intend to say yes to, or what you've been doing. In any event, this is your personal time to share, to reflect. We have this space for all of us. So let us know what you'd like to share. So again, thank you, and we'll see you in a moment.